Yes, we're back, and now we are moving on to our guest of the week. And our guest of the week is actually in Abuja, joining us live from Abuja. Over the last few years, the issue of pipeline vandalism has been a thorn in the flesh of government at every level across the country. Billions of naira has been lost to economic saboteurs. They've been called thieves. They've been called other names that show that they're not people to be respected because of what they have chosen to do. The government are different for has challenged security operatives to better protect the pipelines across the country. To give us more insight into this, our guest in Abuja, Mr. Haruna Momo. He's the Managing Director of PPMC, that's Petroleum Products Marketing Company. Good morning, Mr. Momo. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the program.
You are the Managing Director of Petroleum Products Marketing Company. You are very, very much aware of the downstream problem that we have in Nigeria in terms of vandalism of pipelines and oil theft that goes with that. Let's start from the point of view of how did we get here to a point where we're talking of billions of naira being lost annually?
Well, thank you very much once again for having me on the program. Truth about it is that when I was appointed Managing Director of the PPMC Limited, the mandate that was given to us by the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Dezani Alice Madueke, is to make sure that we have all petroleum products available in every nook and corner of the country. We have pursued that mandate vigorously in the last 2 years since I became the Managing Director of PPMC. But I must say that one of the challenges that we have come across so far is the issue of pipeline vandalism. And I believe that it is a menace that we should all fight as a nation. Otherwise, it is capable of crippling the economy of our country.
Now, one of the things that I will say I have found from conversation with a number of Nigerians is very limited understanding of this issue of pipeline vandalism as well as oil theft as a result of vandalizing these pipelines. How would you describe the process of people going and identifying where these pipes are and then stealing from it? How would you describe it to an average Nigerian for them to be able to key into it and understand what this whole process is about?
Yeah, there are two dimensions to this issue. One is the fact that we have our crude oil pipelines, and the second issue is the fact that we have also the products pipeline. NNPC on its own has a pipeline network of about 5,120 kilometers. And our pipeline network runs all the way from Bonny through to Port Harcourt, and then on that axis through to Aba, Enugu, Yola, Makurdi, and we also have another pipeline axis running from Escravos to Warri. From Warri, it goes all the way to Benin. From Benin to Lokoja, Lokoja to Suleja, Suleja all the way to Kaduna, where we have the Kaduna refinery. And we also have branches, places like Mina, we have in Kano, Jos, Gombe, and then Meduguri. In addition to that, we also have what we call the Critical System 2B line, which is mainly a products pipeline, running all the way from Atlas Cove to Satellite, Satellite to Mosimi, Mosimi to Ore, and from Mosimi, we also have another pipeline going to Ibadan, and from Ibadan to Ilorin. So this is essentially the makeup of the 5,120 kilometers of pipeline network that we have in our system. In addition to this network, we also have attached about 21 depots, and these are loading depots. And in addition to that, we have 2 non-loading depots. That is, there are terminals in which we receive either crude oil or products. This is in Escravos, in the Warri area, and then the Atlas Cove in the Lagos area. Attached to these facilities also, we have about 19 pumping stations from where we do the pumping of either the crude oil or the products from one particular depot to another depot.
Okay, now let's homing on the products pipeline. The products pipeline are found on the hinterland, here in the cities and through towns and city centers and outside of town, but it goes through the country rather than through the offshore area. Now, when we have this, what kind of protection do we have in place that guarantees, or that should, under normal circumstances, guarantee that these vandals will not be able to vandalize it?
Truth about it is that, yes, we do have some of our pipelines crisscrossing villages, in some cases cities, hamlets, and so on and so forth. But we also have some of them in the swamp and creek parts of the country. The truth is that over the years, we have had a situation where our right of way has been badly encroached upon by illegal structures. And we have had to appeal to state governors, chairmen of local government areas, to help ensure that those illegal structures are taken off our pipeline right of way. And as we speak, we have engaged sappers, which is the engineering arm of the Nigerian Army, to help us re-establish some of our right of way. In the course of 2012, they completed work on the Escravos Warri line, Port Harcourt Aba line, and the Warri Benin line. As we speak, sappers has been contracted to also go ahead and help us to establish the Atlas Cove, Mosimi, Ibadan, and Ilorin pipeline network. And they also have the mandate to ensure that every and all illegal structures on our right of way are taken out. They've embarked on the job.
Strong support. Mr. Momo. Mr.
Yes,
Momo.
please.
Yes. Are you getting very good support from the state governments and local authorities in those areas where the right of way is being compromised?
Yes, I must confess that in most of the local governments and the state governments where we have our right of way, we have had a very, very robust collaboration from both the state governors and the local government chairman. We've not had any issues so far, and we have been collaborating with both state and local governments in a very, very robust manner to re-establish our pipeline right of way.
So when you, I was gonna ask that when you then have that, you have that robust support, the military and JTF and civil defense, including the police, they're all supposedly giving this amount of support to the pipelines that we have, crisscrossing different terrains within the country. Now, it brings us to the question of, you've been quoted as having said that about 165 billion naira have been lost as a result of this theft and vandalism. How did you come about that amount of money?
The makeup is from the years 2009 to 2012, and 162.6 billion of that amount was for both products and crude theft over a period of 4 years. And 3 billion was what we spent over that period also for repair works. Because essentially, if we must continue to operate where there is a breach of our pipeline, we must ensure that we carry out immediate repairs. Otherwise, we either starve the refineries of crude oil supply, or in the alternative, we'll have glitches in terms of our products distribution. That is the makeup of that 165 billion that is reportedly quoted by the newspapers and other media houses.
Mr. Momo, we'd like to assume that some of your pipelines are underground and some are over land. How easy is it for people to actually have access to those pipelines?
Having access to our pipelines is as easy for those people who have perfected the act of attacking our pipelines. Because what they do is that whether it's on land, whether it's in the swamp, or whether it's in the creek, they have now perfected the technology of attacking our pipelines almost on a daily basis nationwide. Yes, I agree with you, some of them are on the surface, some of them are underground, but what we have decided to do now as a strategic way of moving forward is to make sure that those hotspots that we have in our pipeline network, we bury them as deep as between 30 to 50 meters below sea level using what is called the HDD method, that is horizontal directional drilling. Work has commenced in Ijododo and in Arekpo area, for example, and we are going to replicate this model in other hotspots in our pipeline network going forward. But of course, this is in addition to our collaboration with the security agencies in the continuous policing of our pipeline network nationwide.
Yes. In the course of this week, we saw on TV a burst pipeline somewhere around Abuja, and we saw crude just flowing like a river. We wonder if your attention was drawn to this and what has been done about it.
Yes, we were aware of that incident. I must say on this occasion that this was a ruptured point, and it was a point that we had repaired last year. Unfortunately, this year it reoccurred. It was not a case of vandalism, but the truth about the matter is that it was a pinhole when it started because we didn't notice any drop in pressure in our operation. But as soon as our attention was drawn to it, we mobilized immediately. We excavated the area and we were able to find the ruptured point, and we had since commenced repairs. I can tell you for sure that before the end of today, we would have completed the repair works. We will test and then restream the line, because that is the line that supplies crude oil to the Kaduna refinery. It happened somewhere in a village around Usuma, not too far from Abaji, close to Abuja. Our staff are fully on ground and we are carrying out maintenance work as we speak.
The impression we get is that all these things are computerized, and as soon as there was a pin leak, as you call it, or whatever, you use the word pin anyway, that the computer would have indicated that there was a leak somewhere, and it would have been taken care of before it became a river.
Yeah, truth about it is that when you have a rupture of that nature, that is a pinhole, it normally takes a little bit of time before it is discovered, especially if there is no drop in pressure. But like I said, we have been able to dig up a retention pit around that area. We've contained the spill, and we have excavated, and as we speak, we are carrying out repair works. Before the close of business today, we would have finished the repair works, and then we'll recommission the line.
Okay.
The case of what happened in Arepo, in which you lost some of your staff, unfortunately, how are you finding a lasting solution to that so that you don't keep losing human capital while people are stealing the oil?
Arepo, unfortunately, has become a recurring decimal. This is most unfortunate, and we have gone out of our way to put it on the front burner. Truth about it is that we have a pipeline running around the whole of Nigeria, more or less. Like I said, 5,120 kilometers for the NNPC alone. But it is most unfortunate that the Arepo area has become a typical and indeed a topical issue. Yes, we lost our staff in Arepo last year, but it was not only the incident of 2005 where we lost lives in Arepo. Truth about it is that a similar incident happened in the year 2009 where about 3 of our managers were killed, and one of them was badly burnt, but though we are lucky he's still alive today to tell the story of Arepo. However, we have collaborated with the Inspector General of Police. We have quite a number of policemen on ground that are manning Arepo specifically as we speak. And in addition to that, we have decided that the best answer to Arepo is for us to do the directional drilling that I talked about a few minutes ago. So all things being equal, between now and the next 3 months, we should be able to arrest the problem of Arepo and then put a stop to it on a permanent basis. But what I do know from past experience is that the vandals, they will move their activities to some other point as soon as we face the problem of Arepo permanently. However, with the security forces fully on ground, I believe that we'll be able to challenge the vandals and get them out of that axis totally, fully, and completely.